Hello and welcome back to Total Extreme Morro. Booking WCW 92 just had our second pay-per-view of the year, Super Brawl, show rating 85, excellent pay-per-view, propped up by a fantastic main event where Big Van Vader beat Sting in only Sting's second defense of the title to win the WCW World Heavyweight title. We also had the tag titles change hands with Miracle Violence Connection defeating Steamboat and Rhodes. In a crazy turn of events, Lex Luger beat Ron Simmons in Luger's last contracted match for the promotion. Rumor has it he's heading up to New York, heading off to Vince's circus. We have Cactus Jack defeating Terry Funk in a street fight. Rick Rude retaining the US title versus Nikita Koloff. Vinny Vegas, aka Kevin Nash, beats DDP in a fairly shite match. Anderson and Blanchard defeat Barry Windham and the returning Robert Gibson. Steve Austin defeats Tito Santana to retain the WCW World Television title. And Pillman grabbed the fucking, not shorts, because Liger doesn't wear shorts, but you know what I mean. He grabbed the pantaloons of Jushin Thunder Liger to take the WCW Light Heavyweight title away from Liger. Few updates. Where's me news? It's gone. I fired Ole Anderson. So we've opened up a slot on the booking team. But I don't think we need anyone yet. So we've got me, Bill Watts there, crazy MFer, Eric Bischoff, Harley Race, and Dusty Rhodes. We have a few creative finishes we can use in matches. We have a few angle ideas. I don't know what I'm going to do with Firebreaker Chips. I'm going to delete that one. Gary Hart, very risky. Not going to try that. Rick Rude, and Near Certainty, will certainly do that one. Steve Armstrong, we could use that one on Power Hour. And then a creative finish with Terry Funk, we'll most certainly use that one. I'm going to start asking them for some character ideas and gimmick ideas to try and get people a bit more heated up. If we look at the roster, any changes? No, we're too soon after the pay-per-view, but I'm renegotiating with Jimmy Garvin and Terry Taylor. I'm in negotiations with Jake Roberts, and I'm in negotiations with Too Cold Scorpio. I need another decent babyface for my junior division. I have made one signing. You might recognize this guy as one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Eddie Guerrero, stats are through the roof. Good start quality, decent charisma, okay microphone, basics, selling all that excellent technicals, aerial flashiness, psychology, all very good. And he will continue to improve, I think, at 60. He'll definitely continue to improve, I'm sure. Popularity, not great, but obviously that needs to be worked on. I want to check where Ultimo Dragon is at. Yeah, he's made some progress. He's made a lot of progress. Fans will still reject him. He's injured at the moment anyway. He's still considered unimportant by the fans. We can't put him in singles matches just yet. Lord Steven Regal is the other one. He's now considered recognizable. We can put him in singles matches on our TV shows, and the fans will accept that. His popularity has improved immensely. If you remember, I used to beat the brakes off the likes of Matt Bourne, off the likes of El Gigante, trying to mine their popularity and give it to Steven Regal. So that's worked. Steven Regal is going to start getting his TV push now. I think that's kind of all the news. Tiger Mask. I'm releasing Tiger Mask. I didn't realize when I signed him, he is training for a professional fight until 1st of April 1994. That's 2 years' time. So we got the contract. We shouldn't have to pay him anything. He's on a handshake deal. Release, yeah. Sorry, Tiger Mask. I really like you, but just you've got nothing here. So, yeah, I really want to sign Jake Roberts. If you have a look at Jake, Diamond Dallas Page is happy about that. View profile, unpredictable personality, which is not ideal. 37,500 a month, which is really a pittance when you consider I'm paying Dr. Red Steve Williams 120k a month. He's 27 days left on his WWF contract. He's an amazing heel. Now, I am kind of heel heavy, but I do have plans to turn some guys. He's got excellent popularity everywhere. Great skills. Look at that psychology, experience, all those things, respect. And then his in-ring stats are decent enough, but the psychology will give him huge boosts, as will his basics. 6 years in WWF now. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to get him because he seems to be kind of confirmed to be leaving WWF. He seemed to reject the contract offer from them. Let's check Too Cold Scorpio's popularity in our areas. See, will we have much work to do to get him over? Yes, absolute, a tremendous amount of work to do to get Too Cold Scorpio over before he's TV ready. But we'll bring him in hopefully and do a lot of undercard stuff, or do pre-show stuff with him and B-show stuff. Kind of take a similar route to Lord Steven Regal. And that's about it on the news front. We're going to book WCW Power Hour and Night of Champions in terms of our schedule. We've got Night of Champions coming up 4 weeks' time. So we've only got 4 weeks of TV as opposed to 6 in the last episode. 2 hours, 12 minutes in the last episode. If you stuck with that, fair play to you. I just couldn't believe it was 4 hours, or the 2 hours, 12 minutes, which is bonkers. Also, what I want to do actually is we're making a load of money. Like, if we look at our finances, we're down 200k this month, but we haven't run a show yet. You can see we've got no pay-per-view revenue. Ticket sales, oh, we did a house show. You don't actually book those in the game, they just happen. But yeah, like we made $1 million last month. We would have made over $1 million the previous month had I not cancelled some TV contracts that cost us 2.75 million. So we're making about $1 million a month. So I think we can upgrade our production a little bit. So where's production? Production is here. Let's upgrade the music. That one is very important for TV negotiations. And let's just see if that opens up any other people who will negotiate with us. Will negotiate. Yes. Let's leave it medium size big. A&E, they'll negotiate with us. They're against wrestling. BET, CMT, I don't know what that is. Comcast, that's pay-per-view. CMT pay-per-view, cable subscription service, pay-per-view, commercial, pay-per-view. Cable network is kind of what we want the most. They're willing to negotiate with us already. We should try and get on MTV next year. USA, they're willing to negotiate despite the fact they're already showing WWE. That would be a great one to get. MTV has a bigger reach though, and it's high risk. We could do more stuff with that. Nickelodeon obviously is low risk. We're on Turner Premiere. VH1 is big. Ubiquity pay-per-view, viewers choice pay-per-view. So really MTV or USA would be the ones that we'd want to get onto. So let's get into our first show of the evening. Major show lined up here tonight. Number one contenders match for the World Heavyweight title in the main event. Ricky Steamboat, who has lost the tag team titles, but he's been on a great run recently, versus Cactus Jack, who emerged from his street fight victorious, putting him in kind of contention to be number one contender for a Big Van Vader's title. So a lot going on tonight's show. I have a stacked undercard as well, trying to get lads a little bit more experience and a bit of heat into some of them, some of whom are moving into kind of big programs. Also, on the pre-show, or it's not the pre-show, it's the B show. So we had Dime Dallas Page just pick up victory on the pre-show of the B show. We debuted Eddie Guerrero, who beaten Junkyard Dog again. He was furious. We had an interview with Paul E, who was warning Brad Armstrong that Steve Austin was looking to see him face to face tonight. Lord Steven Regal picked up a win against Tom Zenk. We had an angle argument backstage between Thomas Martin and Ricky Martin, or Tommy Rich and Ricky Martin. The Fabulous Freebirds beat the Patriots to make defense number 2 of their US tag team titles. Then we had an interesting angle. Just as Ricky Martin was going out for the main event with Nikita Koloff, his former tag partner Robert Gibson approached him, wished him luck in the match. Very interesting. Nikita Koloff defeats then Richard Martin in the main event. So let's get into the A show for tonight. So we have Brad Armstrong sustained a bruised tailbone. Shouldn't be a major deal, but we need to get. He's an excellent in-ring wrestler. We just need to get him a bit more popular and give him a bit more momentum before he takes on Steve Austin for the TV title and continuing their feud. Will that be at the pay-per-view or will that be a TV match? Bruce tailbone. Shouldn't be too bad with the Bruce tailbone. Shane Douglas picks up a win against Johnny B. Bad. Jerry Lynn beats the Italian Stallion. Decent performance from Jerry Lynn. Not quite TV ready. Big Scott Hall, here's a guy who's TV ready, defeats Rip Rogers. And Eddie Guerrero comes in and he just picks up a win against local jobber Shane Helms. And he wins with the Gory Special, his father's move. And a really good performance for a guy who has zero what would you call popularity in this region. He's an amazing heel. He's great at his gimmick, high morale, star quality, charisma, and selling. So he has potential to be a real big star. He was penalized for inconsistency, which often happens when guys are young. Into the main show then, the Steiner brothers pick up another win in an unbelievable opener, 79. What an opener that is. Scott Steiner pins Tully. Tully was also complaining about that before the match. Then Gary Hart and the Miracle Violence Connection cut a 5-minute promo on the Steiners backstage. After watching the Steiners, they have accepted the challenge for. We've seen the Steiners come to the ring and challenge them after they won the titles the previous pay-per-view, just at the weekend. And Gary Hart, on behalf of the Miracle Violence Connection, has accepted the challenge. Then we get a promo in-ring with Harley Race and Big Van Vader warning both Cactus Jack and Ricky Steamboat that whoever will be facing Vader at Night of Champions is going to end up like Sting. We have Fabulous Freebirds beating Ricky Martin and Tommy Rich, making defense number 3 of the US tag titles. Decent segment rating there. And then Sting again from his home. This is the second time he's had to be interviewed from his home in the space of about 3 weeks because of injuries sustained at the hands of Big Van Vader. This time in the main event, suffering a Vader bomb. Sting is once again laid up at home injured. 8,506 people in the Castle Coliseum, which is in Virginia. Brian Pillman beats Marcus Alexander Bagwell in a simple match. He's acting kind of heel in the match again. This is following up on his dastardly cheating tactics to beat his supposed friend Jushin Thunder Liger at Super Brawl 2 for the title. This was a non-title match. If Bagwell had picked up the win, he might have got a title shot, but he doesn't pick up the win. So it doesn't matter, Marcus. Hard luck. Eric Bischoff comes into the ring to try and interview Pillman. Pillman refuses to answer any questions about cheating to beat his supposed friend Liger at Super Brawl. So Pillman brushes off the interview, storms to the back, title in hand, refusing to answer any questions in relation to his cheating tactics at Super Brawl. Then we get another backstage segment between Ricky Martin and Robert Gibson where they're seen talking and maybe reminiscing about their glory days as one of the great tag teams of the 80s. So what's going on with these two guys? Very interesting stuff happening. This is the second time tonight we've seen interactions between them. We've seen Ricky Martin and Tommy Rich lose a match. We've seen Tommy Rich lose a singles match on the B show. We've seen an argument between Martin and Rich. So, yeah. And then Wyndham and Rhodes beat Rick Rude and Beautiful Bobby Eaton. Dustin Rhodes picks up the pin over Beautiful Bobby Eaton with a running bulldog. Rick Rude carried the match in terms of in-ring performance. I'm kind of hoping Dustin's performances get better because I do want to push him. Rick Rude at an 88. This guy's a beast. But I am kind of planning on a Rick Rude Dustin Rhodes US title match at Night of Champions. We have a segment then where Steve Austin and Brad Armstrong face off in the ring, cutting promos on each other. Austin bails before it gets physical after he was jumped by Brad Armstrong, returning, losing the Arachnoman mask and returning as badass Brad Armstrong. He didn't do well without a script to follow, and he kind of came across underwhelming. That is disappointing. His stats in those areas I thought were pretty good. Because we know he's excellent in ring. I think he could have a great match with Steve Austin if we get him hot and get the right popularity onto him. And then Ricky Steamboat beats Cactus Jack in the main event to earn a shot at Big Van Vader at Night of Champions. So we're going to get Steamboat versus Vader. And Cactus Jack foreshadowed a face turn during this match. Very interesting. Very interesting. Matched on to a hot crowd, Steamboat penalized for consistency due to lack of associated storyline. Oh yeah, they just aren't bought in the world title storyline. But we have other things we want to do with Cactus Jack right now. Popularity should increase in most regions. Injury review, yeah. Okay, so Armstrong's only out for 7 days. That's not too bad. Financial report, we made 113k. Popularity report, yeah, we've increased and properly increased in 2 regions and got marginal increases in 4 more. We're still not really getting, well, we have increased in Mid-Atlantic, Mid-South and Southwest. Well, we're actually back to where we started because we lost popularity in them in our first show, if I remember correctly. Oh yeah, what do you think of the different setup? I keep changing setup. I realised the room I'm going to be recording in for the next few weeks um, has a TV in the background. So I decided, why not put the logo up there? And I got a nice funky new light to shine on my face. Is it making me look very? Oh, hello. Is it making me look very whited out? I don't know. So we'll go with it for this episode anyway. Oh, see if any of our signings the contracts have been sent out to these guys. They've been sent out. I got on my little fax machine in my office while I was smoking a cigar and pissing out the window because that's what Bill Watts used to do. Did he piss out? Yeah, I think he just pissed out the window. I faxed them off their contracts. 2 Cold Scorpio, Jake the Snake Roberts, Jimmy Garvin and Terence Taylor are just renewals, so I expect those to come true. So he's got a contract offer from New Japan, but it's not been seriously considered. So it looks like he's going to sign with us. So let's see. Let's go forward one more day to see if he does sign with us. I'll be interested to see what that upgrade to our music does to our end of month finances. There's no point checking now; it'd be too hard to work out how it impacts us in totality. But we'll know at the end of the month. We'll be able to compare it back to the previous month and see. There's May Young. Get birth to a hand. Didn't you, May? You get birth to Mark Henry's hand, supposedly. What do you think of that segment? It's like something that stuck with me for, what's that, 25 years ago? Okay, so Jimmy Garvin and Terry Taylor have renewed their contracts. I only gave them both contracts for a year. I'm not interested in keeping everyone around super long term. Scott Steiner has changed his body type, going from muscular to ripped. I wonder how that'll impact his performance. We do want to check out Brad Armstrong's pro. Look at this picture. That's a cool picture. Yeah, his charisma and microphone skills aren't great. I thought I checked them and they appear to be better. So that means we're going to have to build probably this Steve Austin Brad Armstrong match through maybe like tag team and 6-man tag matches rather than in-ring segments. Like 50 was fine, but wasn't good enough to get some heat into the match. Did he suffer because of it in terms of his where's Brad? No, he hasn't lost momentum. I'm going to deploy something for Steve Austin here as well. I have a creative idea. Deploy creative idea. It's been a success. Oh no, it hasn't been. Character idea was a success. That's given him white hot momentum and it's made him happy. His character idea was a success. So if you get, can I check like stored creative anywhere around here? I don't think, can I check in the pre-booking? No, I can't. Because you can see there I'm lining up the matches that are set for the pay-per-view. We'll be back for the next batch of TVs. Okay, we're coming back early to enact one thing. We have signed Jake the Snake Roberts to a 3-year deal, 37,000 a month. He won't show up for 24 days. That's okay. He has to finish out his contract with WWE. Oh man, Too Cold Scorpio has re-signed with New Japan. Their offer is. I read it wrong. I thought it was not being seriously considered. We've lost out on Too Cold Scorpio. And that's 3 years on an exclusive contract. It's going to be with New Japan until 1995. Oh, I had plans for my junior division. I had big plans. Too Cold Scorpio. We need to go back into free agency. Let's see what's out there under the 225 limit. And work in USA, active wrestler under 225. What do we want? Do we want basics of 70? Oh, that's a disaster. Not so sure about that. Not so sure. Sean Waldman. Okay, Lightning Kid, you're getting the call. If you're trying to lock him down to 3 years, you have to bid a minimum of 6,000. Exclusive written per month, 3 years, 10%, travel covered, blah, blah, blah. Yep, make that offer. I thought I'd give him 6,000. Okay, make that official. Right, we're going for the Lightning Kid, Sean Waltman. Damn. We have got our episode of World Championship Wrestling locked in. Bumper pre-show too. Bumper pre-show. Some debuts. They actually debuted on the pre-show of the B show. Bit of a disaster here though, because Brad Armstrong is working with New Japan tonight. Right in the middle of his push. He's named in the main event, but he won't be taking place. That was the advertising that went out. It's a different main event. But Big Van Vader, on the other hand, he was advertised for New Japan tonight, but he's here. The champ is in the building. He's in the main event. We've changed it around. Cactus Jack, Big Van Vader, and Rick Rude versus Barry Windham, Steamboat, and Rhodes. Huge main event coming up. Some interesting debuts on the undercard. Sean Waltman, aka X-Pac, aka 123 Kid, aka Six, aka the Lightning Kid, makes his debut with a win over local jobber Reno Riggins and a serious performance for a guy of his experience level. We also have Dean Malenko making his debut with another serious performance. Malenko's sick in-ring wrestler. He defeats local jobber The Gambler in 10 minutes by submission. We have also El Dandy. Look, El Dandy's a bit of a meme now based on that Bret Hart promo. But El Dandy was one sick motherfucker back in the day. We've signed him up. We're beefing out with Dean Malenko, Sean Waltman, El Dandy. We're beefing out that junior heavyweight division. Light heavyweight division. I'm going to keep calling it junior. I don't care. We're beefing out the junior heavyweight division. We're going to create our own version of that 96 cruiserweight stuff. But we need to get El Dandy over. We need to get Dean Malenko over. We need to get Sean Waltman over. And we're going to have a sick division then. And then Steve Austin was supposed to be in the main event. I pulled him from it, stuck him on the pre-show with Eddie Guerrero and Jerry Lynn, two other guys that are going to beef out that junior division. So Steve Austin's just getting a little run out here against three of our own jobbers. I just wanted to book him and not have him not on the show. So we have Lord Steven Regal in a technical masterpiece style match where he beats Tito Santana. Huge win for Lord Steven Regal by submission with the Regal stretch. Very good match. Big Scott Hall and Diamond Dallas Page beat Vinny Vegas and Mr. Hughes. I don't know how much I'm going to be using Mr. Hughes. He's 44, I suppose, not terrible when you consider Vinny Vegas only had a 48. And I am planning on Big Scott Hall and Vinny Vegas for Night of Champions. If Vinny Vegas doesn't up his performances in the next few weeks, that might be moved to a TV rather than using a pay-per-view slot for someone who's only performing in the 40s. Then we have promo with Ricky Steamboat, Big Van Vader, Cactus Jack. Basically, here, Steamboat's cutting a promo on these two, setting up the main event later tonight after he beat Cactus Jack in the number one contender match last week. Also, we're in Kansas, in the Kansas Coliseum. We have nearly 10,000. Brian Pillman, another unbelievable performance from Brian Pillman, beats Jumping Joey Maggs. Once again, Eric Bischoff tries to interview Pillman after the match. Pillman shrugs him off, won't answer any of his questions about what he did to his dear, dear friend, Jushin Thunder Liger, at the pay-per-view. Then we get Dustin Rhodes officially challenging Rick Rude for the US title at Night of Champions. It has been made official. They'll be facing each other at Night of Champions for the United States title. Sting has returned after he got badly hurt by Vader at the pay-per-view. He's back in ring 2 weeks. He cut an interview from home last week selling his injuries. He's back in the ring. He's beaten Shane Douglas with Stinger Splash, couple of good performances. And then Sting has cut in a promo about his how losing the title has hurt his confidence. But the Dangerous Alliance surround the ring. They don't do anything. They don't attack. They just surround the ring and then leave through the crowd. We don't know what's going on here between Sting and the Dangerous Alliance, but there's something happening. Sting has been surrounded by the Dangerous Alliance. Is it a warning? Is it? Are they trying to recruit Sting to the Dangerous Alliance? Do they sense weakness in the top babyface in the company now that he's lost the title and he's been sent home twice by Vader? Is Paul E looking to recruit Sting? Or are the Dangerous Alliance sending a warning to Sting? And then we get a big 8-man tag. Miracle Violence Connection, the Fabulous Freebirds versus Ricky Martin, Tommy Rich, and the Steiner Brothers. Miracle Violence Connection and the Fabulous Freebirds defeat Ricky Martin and Tommy Rich. When Steve Williams pins Tommy Rich with the backdrop driver. Steve Williams was head and shoulders above everyone here at 85. What other good performance you have? Terry Gordy, good. Scott and Rick, good. I think that's going to be a banger tag match at the pay-per-view. The Steiners versus MVC. And then after the match, Tommy Rich attacks Ricky Martin and Robert Gibson, his old tag team partner, comes to save the day. Martin and Gibson hug after Tommy Rich has run off, and that sees a face turn for Ricky Martin. And we're reuniting the Rock and Roll Express. Really one of the greatest tag teams of the 80s. This will really help the face side of our tag team division as well, where we're struggling. But Tommy Rich has been run off, and we're seeing Ricky Martin and Robert Gibson reunite. Let's see if they can carry their act into the 90s and how it translates with modern audiences. And then we get into the main event. Cactus Jack, Big Van Vader, and Rick Rude versus Barry Windham, Steamboat, and Rhodes. Ricky Steamboat pinned Cactus Jack with a diving crossbody after Cactus Jack got wiped out after a spot of partner miscommunication. So Big Van Vader has accidentally wiped out Cactus Jack. Ricky Steamboat capitalizes, gets the pin on Cactus Jack. Excellent match. Barry Windham and Ricky Steamboat were off their games. Barry Windham really off his game, only a 62. Steamboat still had an 89. Insane. Big Van Vader with an 88. Rick Rude with an 84. I think Vader and Steamboat are going to tear it up at the pay-per-view. That could be our first 90-plus match. But this really was one of the better matches we have produced, and a big win for Steamboat. But what's happening between Cactus Jack and Big Van Vader? We've seen them allied in the past, but there's a bit of miscommunication here. Cactus Jack eats the pin because he gets wiped out by his tag partner Vader. Excellent overall show. The highlight of the show was that mysterious angle between the Dangerous Alliance surrounding Sting in the ring and then bailing through the crowd. But we had some really banger matches on here as well. Good show overall. Actually, a very good show. Injury review, Van Hammer, bruised tailbone, don't care. Financial report, made a stack of cash, 130k. Popularity, yeah, okay, right, this is nicely cooking. Mid-Atlantic has gone up to 78. So East, our home region, has gone up to 78. Great Lakes, Chicago up to 69. So in order for us to increase our size as a promotion, we need to get 77 in 5 regions. That would also open up possibly more TV stations for us to negotiate with at the end of the year when this contract is up. So we need to get 5 regions to 77. So we have 78, 1, 2, 3, kind 4. Yeah, if we got Mid South and Midwest, we might run more shows in those regions. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're not really near. We might need to start running the Southwest now that that's 70. We'll have a look at that running there a bit more often to try and get that up quicker, catch up with the rest, because we have 4 that are near either above 77 or quite near 77. What else did we want to check before moving on to next week's TV? Oh yeah, we're going to rejig our tag division a little bit. We're going to add Ricky Martin and Robert Gibson as an official tag team. We're going to remove Tommy Rich and Ricky Martin also. And then, yeah, I just want to see what kind of popularity increases those young guys that we've signed. Brad Armstrong, yeah, we knew that. Blah, 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 blah. Nothing of interest there as such. I'm still hurting over the Too Cold Scorpio once we go to teams. We go to add new team. They should be here, are they? Yep. Make them active. And then we want to deactivate the other one. Where is it? There. Inactive individuals. Save team. So if we go into that now, that should change. This active only. No, should be active only. This will give us our list of teams. So our tag team division is filling out nicely. Brian Pillman and Tom Zenk are an active tag team. We've never used them. Make them an inactive unit. Save that. I think it's quite clear Pillman is going heel soon. Let's get to the next episode of TV. Another major episode of WCW Saturday Night Television TV show. So some noteworthy things on the B show actually finally got it right. Rock and Roll Express teamed up for the first time in a few years, beating Terry Taylor and Jerry Lynn. We had a monster 6-man tag: Sean Waltman, Dean Malenko, and Liger versus Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker and the Young Pistols with a 72 rating. El Dandy put in an excellent performance of 70 in a pre-show match. Eddie Guerrero had a good performance of 58 too. So a lot happening on the B show. We have an interview there with Eric Bischoff, or interviewing Paul Heyman. Heyman says he is going to talk to Sting 1-to-1 tonight on World Championship Wrestling television. Also, we get an interview with Lord Steven Regal. Lord Steven Regal is in the main event tonight, taking on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Let's get into it. Poor pre-show match. Vinny Vegas really isn't doing it, is he? What do I do? What do I do with that Scott Hall and Vinny Vegas match? Do I put it on the pay-per-view? I'm not so sure. Maybe it'll happen on TV next week as a blow-off. El Dandy in another pre-show match with a great performance, taking on local jobber Mike Anthony. Eddie Guerrero taking on Acero Dorado Jr. I told them to go out and have a high-flying match. They did all right. Acero Dorado Jr. isn't at that level yet, but Eddie put in a good performance. Sean Waltman beat Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker, following on from them facing off in the 6-man earlier. We're going to give Sean Waltman his Lightning Kid gimmick going forward, I think. Shouldn't hurt his momentum. He's putting on great performances. And in the Rock and Roll Express, beat Tommy Rich and Jerry Lynn. We got penalised because Alexandra York is still Ricky Martin's manager. I forgot to remove that. But yeah, I'll do that after the show. And then the show opens with an absolute monstrous backstage brawl between Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner versus Miracle Violence Connection of Steve Williams and Terry Gordy. Got the show off to a super hot start. Crowd got the angle hotter. Angle got to show off to a strong start. Great chemistry all over this one. They're just beating the shit out of each other backstage, and we had to remove the four of them from the arena because they've just created an atmosphere of chaos. And let's see if that continues throughout the night. But those four won't be seen on the rest of this TV show because they've been sent home for the chaotic brawling backstage as the show opens. 7,000 people in attendance in Tucson, Arizona. We're in the southwest region, trying to build up our popularity there. Then we get, creative finish was a failure. That's not good. But a good match nonetheless. Brad Armstrong gets the pin over beautiful Bobby Eaton with a side Russian leg sweep. Watched a great match there the other day, actually. IRL, between Brad Armstrong and Dean Malenko from around 93 or 4. Cracker match. Check it out if you can find it. That's one of the reasons why I've been pushing Brad Armstrong, because I thought he was super impressive in that match. Decent performances all around. Steve Austin really is the star of the show. No surprise there. And then Brian Pillman beats Sean Waltman. Sean Waltman makes his first appearance on TV. Brian Pillman isn't being interviewed here by Eric Bischoff. Jushin Thunder Liger comes down to the ring, challenges Pillman for a rematch for the junior heavyweight title at Night of Champions. Pillman just leaves. He doesn't accept. He doesn't reject. He just leaves. He's been very silent since he cheated to beat Liger at the last pay-per-view. Then we get a wild brawl, very sharp one between Cactus Jack and Junkyard Dog. I'm really just trying to get Junkyard Dog to quit. I keep beating him. But Cactus Jack puts in a great performance there. Cactus Jack grabs the mic. He blames Vader for the loss last week. Something's building between Cactus Jack and Big Van Vader, our current World Heavyweight Champion. But Big Van Vader has his hands full with Ricky Steamboat. And then Sting beats Terry Taylor in a fantastic match. 11 minutes by submission. Paulie dangerously comes to the ring, flanked. He said he was going to speak to Sting one-on-one, but he brings Tully and Aaron with him. Tully and Aaron don't get involved. They're just there for moral support for Paul E. Paul E offers Sting a shot or a chance to join the Dangerous Alliance. Sting rejects. Sting leaves. That's the end of the segment. Paul E, notably, trying to recruit the figurehead of the promotion, Sting. And then we get into our main event. Ricky Steamboat versus Lord William Regal. Steamboat wins in 15 minutes using his diving crossbody to get the pin in a very, very good match. Steamboat puts in a fantastic performance. Lord Steven Regal, for a guy who is recently just getting his TV time increased, puts in a very, very solid performance. Let's see if there's any penalties on that one. Yeah, it's the gimmick. We need to do something with the gimmick there for Regal. The Blue Bloods gimmick isn't hitting in the US in 1992, and that brings us. It doesn't bring us off the show. We have absolute carnage. Big Van Vader attacks Ricky Steamboat before Barry Windham and Dustin Rhodes make the save, but then Larry Zbyszko and Rick Rude, I was supposed to say Rick Rude, Larry Zbyszko and Rick Rude attack Barry Windham and Dusty Rhodes as the show goes off the air. So the show started with carnage, the show ended with carnage. Steamboat is left laying by Vader. He's helped by his friends Windham and Rhodes. And then Larry Zbyszko and Rick Rude take out Windham and Rhodes. So there's absolute chaos as we go off the air. Finished the show. Yeah, good show. Didn't do. Yeah, it will increase their popularity in all the places that matter, really. Made 72k profit. Popularity recap. Yeah, the Southwest has increased to 71. That's kind of what we were looking for more than anything. Surprisingly, the Tri-State increased as well. And we have marginal gains in the Great Lakes, New England, and Northwest. So we now have 5 firmly in the 70s. That will help with any future TV deals we may want to do. Yes, my clothes have changed in the blink of an eye. I went to the gym to get jacked. I'm so old. Anyway, we're back with the Go Home show for Night of Champions. I've been booking longer matches and segments on the shows recently, so it's actually decreased the number of segments we have available on the shows, which is probably hurting the amount of talent I can get on. which is unfortunate. But we had a very good Bischoff. I got it right again. So the Rock and Roll Express defeated the Young Pistols in the main event. And then they challenged um, Fabulous Freebirds for WCW United States Tag Team Championship title match taking place at Night of Champions. So the US tag titles are going to be on the line at the pay-per-view as well. We have an interview with Harley Race. Harley has something up his sleeve, he says. Diamond Dallas Page defeats Rip Rogers. We get a promo from Anderson Blanchard, Bobby Eaton, and Zabisco, kind of warning Sting about saying no to the Dangerous Alliance. And then in a cracker of an opener, we did another one of these matches where you tell them to go out and have a technical masterclass, and Malenko and Steven Regal delivered. Of course it did. We brought in Bandito Senior and Jim Boss just to job out some matches, but El Dandy again putting in a banger performance. So he's found himself booked on the main show, I think. Yeah. Right, let's get into the go home show for Night of Champions. We brought in Vito for a tryout. Not bad, Vito. Someone we might keep an eye on the indies. These two just didn't seem to click. So his rating probably could have even been better. But yeah, Grant, just trying to get Van Hammer more stature as a jobber. Maybe if people see him win a match, then they might take him seriously when I beat the brakes off him on TV. Just getting a win again for Jerry Lynn seemed off his game. What's that due to? Inconsistency. But nonetheless, a fine pre-show match. And then just getting Regal another win on the pre-show, keeping his momentum going, beating Bandito Senior. Then the opener for tonight, Shane Douglas was furious about being asked to job Brad Armstrong. Look, Shane, you don't worry, pal. I've got plans for you. But Brad needs a little bit of boost in popularity. And look, he's putting in great performances. So let's see if there's any penalties. Douglas penalised for poor gimmick. That's about it. And then Austin cuts a promo. Fantastic promo. This guy is just awesome. Who knew? Who knew that Steve Austin would be good in a game like this? We're in Broome County Arena, actually, which is in the tri-state area. I think it's in Pennsylvania. So we haven't gone all the way into New York, but we've done 6,800 people. When I did a bit of market research previously, we were getting predicted at about 5,000, so our increase in popularity there has been helpful. Austin cuts the final promo of the go home angle for his match with Brad Armstrong coming up at Night of Champions. We're testing these guys out. They had a 63. Scott Hall beats Vinny Vegas by pinfall. So we might give them a match on a pay-per-view to see if they can do better than that. Steiner brothers beat the Young Pistols. Scott Steiner seemed off his game. He still had a 78. Like, we could actually put him in singles world title matches at the minute. He's so good. But yeah, very good match. And then once again, the Miracle Violence Connection and the Steiner brothers just have an absolute barn burner of a brawl around ringside. This is the final time they had to be kicked out of the arena last week because they were fighting backstage. We have the security pulling them apart here at ringside tonight. These two will finally get their hands on each other at Night of Champions. Sting beats Tully Blanchard in an excellent match with the Stinger Splash in 15 minutes. And we have a crazy angle goes down here. Sting gets jumped by the Dangerous Alliance, Eaton, Anderson, Zabisco, Tully's line in the ring. But he gets saved by Nikita Koloff, Ron Simmons, and Terry Funk. Sting has some backup here with the babyface locker room. We haven't seen Koloff, Simmons, or Funk since Super Brawl, where poor Ron Simmons lost to Lex Luger in Luger's last contracted match. It really hurt his stock. So he disappeared for a few weeks. Koloff lost to Rick Rude, and Funk lost a thrilling street fight against Cactus Jack. But these four seem to be aligning now against the Dangerous Alliance. And then we just, yes, this is what I'm talking. These are the kind of matches I want to put on TV. Send out 6 guys like this. Tell them to steal the show. Malenko with a good rating. Sean Waltman with a good rating. Liger with an amazing rating. Dandy with a great rating. Guerrero, Pillman. Yeah, these are the kind of matches we want on TV. El Dandy is getting better at his gimmick. Was he getting penalised for his weak gimmick or anything? What were the penalties here? Malenko inconsistency, Liger inconsistency, El Dandy inconsistency. Odd face heel combination. Oh yeah, we haven't officially turned Pillman yet, but here it is. Pillman slaps Liger after the match and bails. He just gets out of there. That completes his turn. Complete success. And we go to the singles match, the rematch at Night of Champions. We get another 6-man main event. Great match. Steamboat was off his game. What did he put in 89? Multiple storylines advancing with this one. We get Big Van Vader, Rick Rude, and Larry Zbyszko versus Ricky Steamboat, Barry Windham, and Dustin Rhodes. Big Van Vader pins Barry Windham with the Vader Bomb. We're going to see two matches coming out of this one. At the pay-per-view, we're going to see Rick Rude versus Dustin Rhodes for the United States title. We're going to see Big Van Vader versus Ricky Steamboat in Vader's first defense of the World Heavyweight title. Um, Whoa, we got penalty across one, two, three, four. Four angles wasn't enough for the crowd. Oh my god, we got shit on. Like, look at those ratings then for the overall show rating. Ugh, this is not going to be good for popularity after working so hard to build it up. Everywhere got hit. That is an absolute disaster. I thought like that was a great show, but we just maybe it was the length of the angles didn't match. Fuck! I'm snapping! I'm snapping! We are here for La Pay-Per-View Night of Champions 1992 main event Big Van Vader versus Ricky Steamboat. Let's just jump straight into this card. We just did a big 5v5 on the pre-show. Lord Steven Regal getting the win over who did he was head and shoulders above everyone else. He submitted the Junkyard Dog. Poor Junkyard is having a torrid time. Then we have a 6-man. Again, just to light it up on the pre-show, give these guys some exposure. Eddie Guerrero, Terry Taylor, and Jerry Lynn versus Tito Santana, Sean Waltman, and Dean Malenko. And Dean Malenko pins Eddie Guerrero. Interestingly, who were the best performers in there? Malenko, Guerrero, Jerry Lynn, even more so than Terry Taylor. And Terry has significantly more popularity than those guys. So their performances are going to shoot up as they get more popular. Also, we are in, where is it? We're in Michigan, is it? I think it's in Michigan. So we've gone to the Great Lakes region. I can't remember if I picked Chicago or Michigan. But we have nearly 18,000 people in attendance. That is not bad at all. And then the opener of the main show, get the fabulous Freebirds. Jimmy Garvin pinned Ricky Martin using the ropes for leverage. You dirty, dying bastard. You have only gone and done it. Decent match to open show. Got the crowd off to a strong start. Got the crowd hotter. Yeah, these guys have great chemistry together. They're all getting a little bit older now. This is the 90s, not the 80s, when this match could have been a match of the year contender, but they ain't doing that in the 90s. Then we get Big Scott Hall in basically an exact repeat of their match. I was hoping on pay-per-view they might turn it up. They got the crowd hotter. In fairness to them, Big Scott Hall once again defeats and probably banishes Vinny Vegas from his life moving forward forever and ever. I don't ever see these two guys having any interactions whatsoever again. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. There's just nothing that ties these two together. On to the next. Oh no, that's a little backstage angle. Sting, Nikita Koloff, Ron Simmons, and Terry Funk just preparing to come through the curtains. Last minute pep talk to the camera, to each other, straight into the action. And they get the victory over the Dangerous Alliance. Sting pinned Tully Blanchard once again. That's the second time in 4 days to pin Tully with the Stinger Splash. Who had good performances here? Larry Zbyszko, as per usual. Ron Simmons had a good performance. Larry Zbyszko outperformed Sting in this match. Terry Funk was really off his game, still had a 62. This advances storyline. I'm looking at combination of a team led by Sting versus a Dangerous Alliance team for War Games. Not the next pay per view, the following one in May. But it won't be this. This is essentially the Dangerous Alliance B team. Well, it has A members, like you could put Larry Zbyszko, Arner Tully into the A team there, but you'd be looking at Steve Austin and Rick Rude in there as well. And this won't be Sting's final team. He will have to recruit some baby faces from potentially higher up the card. Steve Austin submits Brad Armstrong in a friggin' really good match. Brad's been putting in matches of performances of 60s, and he gets to the pay per view and he puts in a 46. Like, if he was putting in his regular performance of 60s there, and Austin had the 77, this match could have been like in the 80s, one of our better matches ever to have. But it's still a really good match. I knew these two would have a good match. I wanted to get Brad Armstrong a bit more popularity because he's a guy that we could certainly use on TV with his wrestling ability. What were the penalties here? No penalties. I'm surprised Brad Armstrong didn't perform a little bit better. Why are they going all out? Did I put a certain match type on that? Did I? I didn't. No. Maybe they were just doing it because it's a pay per view. Okay. And then Scott Hall arrives and challenges Stone Cold Steve Austin. There's no venue set for that match yet. It may be at next month's pay per view. It may be on TV, but Scott Hall has emerged as Stone Cold's next contender for the TV title. That was defense number 17 from Steve Austin. I keep calling him Stone Cold. He's years away from that. And then Brian Pillman defeats Jushin Thunder Liger in an exceptional match. That's the first defense of the title for Pillman. Wow, what a match. Is that our best match ever? It might be. And then Rick Rude defeats Dustin Rhodes after all sorts of shenanigans going on here. During the match, Beautiful Bobby Eaton ran in and attacked Dustin. So Dustin's friends Barry Windham returned the favour and attacked Ricky Rude. Rude makes defense number 6 of the US title. And after the match, the Dangerous Alliance reappear and they beat down Dustin Rhodes and Barry Windham, leaving Steamboat all alone for the main event. His team, his general tag team partners in trios matches and so on, Barry Windham and his former tag team partner Dustin Rhodes, who they held the tag titles together, have been beaten down and are probably on their way to the hospital as we speak. Right, I thought this match should be better. Considering everyone put in a performance, Rick Steiner 73, but Steve Williams 86. But anyway, it's still a really good match. Everyone here has great chemistry, loads of bonuses, loads of bonuses. But the Miracle Violence Connection beat the Steiners in just under 16 minutes with Steve Williams pinning Scott Steiner with the backdrop driver. We're definitely running this match back. I think they can do a lot better than that. What were people penalised for? Look at all these bonuses. This match could have been way better. Rick Steiner, inconsistency. This shite of the tag storyline doesn't have low heat. It is extremely hot on the storyline screen, so that makes no sense. This always happens. The storyline thing is just it doesn't really work the way it should. It has the highest level of heat, but the matches are getting penalised for having low heat. I bet you that'll happen in the Vader and we're about to find out. Vader versus Ricky Steamboat for WCW World Heavyweight title. And Big Van Vader pins Steamboat with the Vader Salt. Yeah, again, this segment was penalised for the storyline's low heat. It has the highest level of storyline heat. Matches are better colour commentary. Who's on colour commentary for this? Dusty. I knew that was going to come back to haunt us. Dusty's going to have to go. But look at the performances these two put in. 88 and 89, and the segment gets a rating of 78. That doesn't feel right to me. After the match, Lex Luger attacks Ricky Steamboat. Luger and Vader have attacked Ricky Steamboat, and Cactus Jack has appeared from nowhere to attempt to save Ricky Steamboat. But Luger and Sting, what's Lex Luger doing here? What is he doing here? Face turn officially for Cactus Jack. Lex Luger has returned 1 month after the final appearance on his contract. He's here. He showed up. He's a client of Harley Race. Is he signed? Who's Vader's manager as well? Is he signed to Harley Race? Is he signed to WCW? What's going on? Lex Luger has returned. Kind of disappointed with the overall because the stupid storyline thing is just nonsense. It doesn't work in the game. We're going to Big Van Vader's getting praised. Ricky Steamboat is obviously getting praised. Who else? Steve Williams put in a great performance on this pay-per-view as well. We praised him. Make that speech. He seems pleased. He seems pleased. He seems pleased. Financial report. Oh God, pay-per-view revenue of over 2 million. Ticket sales 350k. Merchandise 80k. Overall profit for the show 2.4 million. As I said, yeah, and we regain all that popularity we lost after I fucked up something on the TV show on Wednesday. But yeah, we're looking very strong. We're looking very strong. We're catching up on WWE. We'll do the media scrum. I'm sure it's a one-off. What? No big stars under the age of 30. I am, yeah. How are you intending to use? We're going to play it by ear. I'm sure it was a one-off. Oh, JWP. I don't know who that is. Looking for a new head booker. I have no interest at all in that position. I'm not going to get involved. What crap media scrum? I think it's a bit of a shit feature. It's a little bit of a shit feature. Not a terrible feature. But yeah, that no, we're going into a tick over date here into April. Where I have little things set up. I changed it. If you remember the first episode or episode 0, I can't remember. I changed the product base to allow us to do more match types in terms of like bloodbaths and stuff like that. That is due to change. David Crockett says Jerry Lynn doesn't connect with fans. David, you don't connect with fans. Michael Hayes seems to be building a clique backstage with Robert Gibson and Jimmy Garvin. They're not going to have a whole lot of political power now with that clique. But it's funny that they're feuding with Robert Gibson. Yeah, Paul New, that's PN News. He's relocated. Where's he moved to? Southeast. He's moving closer to our home base. Not sure if you're going to be here too much longer, pal. Yeah, we know this. Viewing figures, very good, very good. All that stuff is on the tick up. Let's look at our product. How many more days? 2 more days. 2 more days. 2 more days. We are going to be able to do more expansive match types. So our first shows for that would be at the start of the new pay-per-view cycle. I'm not going to click through those 2 days now. I just want to click over into how many days are in March? How many days has September? No, I don't know. Yeah, I think 30 in March. I don't want to get too close to Wednesday because I want to pre-book my Wednesday night TV, get all the new directions for the next pay-per-view cycle moving, and continue building to War Games in May. Monday, Tuesday's getting a bit close to the TV show. We'll cut it off there. That's been tonight's episode. Vader retains his title. Miracle Violence Connection retained their title. Rick Rude also retains his title. Steve Austin retained his title. Brian Pillman retained his title. And also, so did the Freebirds retain their titles. There's no title changes this month, but we did see Lex Luger return after the main event to beat down Steamboat with Vader, and we saw Cactus Jack come to Ricky Steamboat's help after Steamboat's partners Rhodes and Wyndham were beaten down earlier in the show and sent to the hospital. Show was a sellout. Yeah, so things are moving in the right direction. See you guys next week. Also, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. The one thing about this show I've actually noticed is, a few episodes have been released now. uh, obviously it's very niche and it doesn't do as many views as our main podcast or anything like that on the channel. But what it does do is the retention rate is super high on it. So that means you people are sticking with this to the end of episodes, much deeper into episodes. So fair play to everyone. I know last week's was a monster. This week's is significantly shorter. I'm gonna try and keep around this mark going forward. But yeah, comment down below. Whose pushes are you liking? Who am I missing out on? Like, who do you want me to look for on the free agency? I believe Paul Levesque has. Let's just check that before we go. No. Do you want me to bring in women's wrestling? I think it's a bit early for the US market, but now that we've changed our. He has debuted. He's working with the IWF. He's terrible. Look at his skills, they're so shit. Now, obviously, look, his experience is zero. So has he even worked a match yet? He hasn't. He's never worked a match, but he has a little contract for himself. So we'll keep an eye on him. You know what we'll do? We're going to shortlist Paul Levesque. We're going to just keep an eye on his. Oh, Shane Douglas. Will we give Shane? We're going to give Shane a 10k. Oh, that's it. We're going to give Shane a 10k bonus. Yeah, but comment down below. What do you want to see me do? What kind of matches do you want me to do now that our product base allows it? Our fans will be more accepting of it. Um, See you on the next one. Peace out. All Elite Morro.